Alright, so this is future me actually speaking. I actually did manage to cut the intro, like the actual first portion of the intro, because it was extremely long and the video was too long, like the intro was too long. So actually I'm just going to put pretty much a TLDR like after just this message. But first and foremost, happy Halloween everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope everyone out there has a fantastic Halloween. And yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm just here hanging around and just doing pretty much editing video all day. But yeah, pretty much I'm just going to do a TLDR of what I said on the actual intro before I actually cut it out, because the video was literally 31 minutes long, and I actually did have to cut everything just to make it around 25 minutes long, and a little bit 25 minutes long here and there. But everyone out there, I'm just going to put pretty much a TLDR. What I said is, first and foremost, if you're new to the series, watch the night video, because in the night video I did explain everything that is this series. So that is what characters that will I'll be using and what kind of stats will I'll be using. Check out the night video, link in the description. Second thing is going to be that I did try it out, the Draco on max movement speed after the video and before actually rendering this video. I did try it out, the max movement speed Draco, but I'm just going to say that the Draco is faster than I thought. It is pretty good, but it doesn't change what I said in the video. I still stand by certain things. First and foremost, survivability problem is still a thing. And secondly, it's not the fastest character out there. It's a lot faster than I thought, but it's not the fastest character out there. It's still slower than the Knight when it comes to dungeon grinding, because I did test it out on both Draco and Knight on the same dungeons, and pretty much doing multiple times. So that doing that, it was the reason why this video is one day later. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've pretty much been testing the Knight and the Draco max movement speed on both characters, pretty much the same stat and same coefficient. And I did test it out on both characters, and the Knight was faster, not by a much, but it was faster than the Draco in terms of dungeon grinding. However, it doesn't change the fact that the character is still an amazing class. And yeah, so I did try the max movement speed Draco out, just because I kept getting comments of like, oh, you should be using Trailblazer, you should be using this method instead of using your own method. But to each their own. I just decided to test it out, just, so I can please everyone out there. I try to please as many people as I can, not please everyone, but hey, to each their own. But yeah, that is what I saw. On open field, Knight was better. On dungeon to dungeon, like 1-star dungeon killing bosses, both of them were pretty much equal, because Knight could one-shot, Draco could kill so fast that it's pretty much a one-shot. And on 5-star dungeons completion, Knight was faster for around 10 to 15 seconds on average. And that's literally on several different 5-star dungeons, going open field, and pretty much testing both characters out. I did test both characters out. It took me around 6 hours, around something like that, of testing both characters out. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. That's pretty much the TLDR on the intro. What I said, it took me like 9 minutes to actually do this, but that is all that I say. Draco is an amazing class, but it's not faster than something like Knight, which is the slowest moving character in the entire game. And being the slowest character in the game, meaning the Knight, doesn't necessarily mean that it's slow at dungeon grinding. It means that the momentum on the Knight is that good, and the Draco has momentum problems compared to the Knight. But still, the Draco is an amazing class. I will say everyone to keep using whichever character you enjoy. I'm not here to say use this character, use this and that. I'm just saying, what do I think of the character on endgame, or what is my opinion on that character in endgame. I hope you understand everything and enjoy the video. Hello and welcome to another JNMG video. I'm your host JonNario, and today is another Trove End Game, this time featuring the Lunar Lancer. My Lunar Lancer is currently sitting at 31,268 power, and if you're seeing on screen, that you see that my UI is much smaller. The thing is, I'm using a command it's called UI scale, and I'm using 0.8 of the normal UI, which the normal UI is 1.0, so I'm using 0.8 of the normal UI, which is going to be a much smaller, and it looks a lot better, it looks a lot clearer, and in my opinion it looks amazing. I would suggest you do this and normally it's 1, and the lower it is, the smaller the UI will be, which is going to be like the minimap, like the compass at top, like the tomes, powering, level, and the abilities, and even the chat as you're seeing on the bottom left. Like everything is much smaller if you go below 1. So normally it's 1, and below that is going to be a much smaller UI screen. Anyways, my stats are going to be as follows. You're going to see a couple of things. It's going to be that I have 410,000 physical damage, even 2,000 critical damage, and exactly 100% critical hit, even almost 4,200 light. The thing is that I have a lot of critical damage roll with this character. Lunar Lancer has a 30% bonus physical damage by default, and I don't have a lot of light rolls with this character, even though light rolls is like, I believe I have 6 light rolls with the Lunar Lancer, but even still, like, these are some pretty impressive stats, I must say, just to look at it like this. And this is coming from a 31.2k pure Lunar Lancer, which is pretty nice. Anyways, moving on into my gear, which is going to be a movement speed, critical damage, all pieces of gear. This is the only thing that I will recommend you to use on the Lunar Lancer. You don't need anything else. If you want to use energy regen, then use it on ring, which I use it on this Lunar Lancer. But I don't recommend you use energy regen on spear. I will only recommend you to use it on ring because it's more than enough. But movement speed, critical damage, all pieces of gear with the Lunar Lancer, maximum health hat and face. This character has some survivability problems as well. And the critical hit in order to achieve 100%, because with this I'm able to get 100% exactly. And yeah, critical damage for more damage, and movement speed for, you know, take advantage of the really high movement speed on this character. And you're using crescent combo with this character for the most part, so yeah, it might as well just use no attack speed roll with this character. Like I mentioned, energy regen ring, I would recommend you to have energy regen only on ring. Rat Berserker is the best ally in the game in terms of physical damage dungeon grinding. Martial Emblem for damage, and this character needs damage. Beamer Emblem, I actually am using Beamer Emblem, and I did try it out, Trailblazing, for those who are just going to say,
oh, you're not using Trailblazing, you need to use Trailblazing.
I did try it out, Trailblazing, but I use Beamer because it does help out with the burst damage on this character. And yeah, so Conjurer's Crystal Vial is my own personal vial of choice. And Pirate Captain Naval Gunfire subclass, which is going to be for my magic fight and a little bit extra crowd control. And I want to use this character without any increase in like health. That isn't like something like Revenant or even the Candy Barbarian sub. So I will be using like the Naval Gunfire subclass just so I can use the base survivability on the Lunar Lancer. So yeah, these are pretty much the stats. I will be going into my gems right now. God, this UI looks so small. Anyways, these are my gems currently as follow. So my empower gems, fire, water, and air, are going to be a 2-1 physical on both of my fire and water, and a 2-1 crit damage on my class gem, which is going to be 2 critical damage, 1 physical damage roll. And both of my other empower gems are going to be 2 physical, 1 critical damage roll. And as far as my lesser gems are going to be 2-1 physical, 2-1 crit damage, 2-1 crit damage, 2-1 crit damage, 2-1 physical, and 2-1 crit damage. So 4 of them are going to be with 2 critical damage roll, 1 physical damage roll, and 2 of them is going to be 2 physical damage roll, 1 critical damage roll. I will put all of the rolls on screen coming from my water, fire, and air gems. So these are the rolls that you're seeing right now on screen. And my cosmic gem are going to be a 2 light, 1 physical on both of my lesser cosmic gem, and my empower gem is going to be a 2 light, 1 crit damage. So yeah, pretty much almost perfectly divided half and half in terms of physical damage and critical damage roll. And yeah, so those are my cosmic gem rolls that you're seeing right now on screen. And I have Empyrean Barrier, which is terrible, and I would suggest you use Vampirian Vanquisher with this character. This character needs some survivability, so Vampirian Vanquisher is going to be extremely beneficial to the Lunar Lancer. So I will suggest you use the Vampirian Vanquisher on this character, which is extremely important. The 2 most important are going to be Explosive Epilogue and Vampirian Vanquisher with the Lunar Lancer. Pyrodis is actually a really good addition, but the most important are going to be Explosive Epilogue because it does help you out in the crowd control and burst damage and one shot, because this character needs some burst damage. And Vampirian Vanquisher is going to help out not only in the movement speed but more so in the survivability department. Class gem is completely optional. The class gem is alright, it's not great, it's not bad, it is alright. And again, Pyrodis is going to be a really good addition to your arsenal, and it's going to help out a little bit in the crowd control damage, and also it's going to be a lot in movement speed. But that is everything regarding all of my gems and my gear. I will be going into Uber 10 right Now, so what do I think of the Lunar Lancer end game? The Lunar Lancer has some problems. I might say, first of all, this UI just looks beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, like it makes the game look much better. Like in terms of like everything much more clear, and I'm able to actually represent everything better just by doing this UI little method. You have to do the UI scaling every time you log in though. It's not every loading screen like the FOV. It's going to be every time you log in. So it's going to be similar to like the DND or something like that. So yeah, just to let you know on that one. But anyways, moving on into the Lunar Lancer end game. So at 34 kpr, let me just tell you that outright. At 34 kpr, this character can be really good. It is not going to be the best out there. It has really good movement speed. It has pretty good momentum. It's not the best. And crowd control is pretty great. But one-shot potential is kind of hit or miss depending on your stats. And DPS is just terrible. Let me just say that outright. But I'll elaborate more on that once I get into the damaging abilities. So yeah, that's pretty much how the character will perform at 34k. The multipliers are going to be strong enough that you can do pretty well. And yeah, so anyways, moving on into the 31 kpr portion of the Lunar Lancer. So the Lunar Lancer, it is, how should I put it? It's not that it's a bad character, because it is not. It is actually a pretty strong character, but it is a character that needs some outside external like buffs or external damage increase, as you saw right there. That was my most optimal damage without the Beamer emblem. I cannot even two-shot enemies with Marshall, and that is not a good thing, considering that this character's multipliers are pretty good in terms of like cross and combo. They're pretty good, they're pretty high up there, but still, like, the character is kind of hit or miss. Let's start talking about the multipliers and I'll let you decide for yourself, but just from based on my experience, I must say that the character is not bad, but it's not great. So let's start talking about the basic attack. The basic attack is terrible. It's horrendous. It is one of the worst basic attack in the entire game. I'm not even exaggerating, and I'm not even trying to hate on the Lunar Lancer. It is that bad. Like, the basic attack is that bad. So let's start talking about the multipliers. The multiplier on this basic attack is a staggering 1 times damage. Woohoo! 1 times damage is always fun on a basic attack. So yes, it is a pretty low damaging basic attack. Not only that, it only has a base attacks per second of 1.75. This is actually slower in terms of like DPS or lower DPS than the Chloromancer and Neon Ninja basic attack, and you know how bad those characters are in terms of DPS when it comes to basic attack, and this one is weaker than both of them. So not only that, it also attacks only in front of you, so the crowd control is not that good. So it's going to be it's going to hit multiple enemies, but it's going to hit enemies just in front of you. So let's say, for example, let's just find an enemy so it doesn't kill me like immediately. So the crowd control is terrible. So let's just take this plan for example. If I attack from over here with pretty much every other character, I can hit it. This is literally one block from the side. I literally need to get this close in order to start hitting the enemy with basic attack. If I do a special cameo with the knight, like I mentioned, I can literally hit an enemy from behind me. So yeah, the Lunar Lancer has some terrible like crowd control when it comes to basic attack. Literally, if the enemy is not standing in front of you, then you're not going to hit it. Like, you have to literally just keep moving from left to right and just being like crazy. And yeah, so basic attack is pretty terrible. Then you have to take into consideration the grappling spear, which is going to be this ability. Let's just hope they actually buff this ability in some way, shape or form and make it similar to like the Palma Royale or the GOKs, which is just immediate. You don't have to throw the spear and they immediately grab it. It can be quite decent in speed farming if you want to maximize speed, but to be honest, it's too much of a hassle and you need to have pretty much perfect aim in order to actually use it effectively. So let's take for example that if you want to get close to that area, you can actually do this. You can throw the spear from really far away. It's a 31 or 32 block like limit, so it's pretty far away. Then you can actually grapple into that and you will get a lot of movement speed, like a lot of momentum. But it's still, you have to have perfect aim pretty much in order to actually do that. And the thing is, it doesn't go through walls or something like that, because again, if you hit a wall, you will stop mid-travel. So yeah, it's not a good thing. It's not that good of an ability, and not to mention, It does damage, but the damage is only 1 times damage on both of them. So both the spear when you throw it and the grapple when you literally do the AoE once you grapple into the spear. So 1 times damage on each and every single one. Then you take into account the main damaging ability, Crescent Combo. If you look at the multipliers, the Crescent Combo multipliers are pretty good. It is 4 times damage multiplier each and every single swing, so it is a total of 8 times damage on the full Crescent Combo on both hits. So 8 times damage is really strong. It is the same as the Knight Spear Squire, it is the same as the Vanguardian's Eye-Beam ability. It is a pretty powerful ability. However, this is one big weakness right here. It takes 2 seconds to fully complete the ability, and the second hit is the only one that stuns. So while you're doing the second charge, this is what happens. So if you see an enemy right here, you saw right there that I'm taking full damage while I'm charging the second hit. And one more thing about that is going to be that while you're doing the first hit, you cannot use flask. As you can tell, I'm pressing the flash button and you have to wait until the full animation takes place. So if there's 2 enemies like that one, like you saw right there, if there's 2 enemies right in front of me, you're going to take full damage after hitting with the first hit, and if there's 2 enemies, one of them is going to leave you one shot, especially if you're full DPS. One of them is going to leave you one shot and the second one is going to kill you before you actually do the full animation. And that's happened to me in so many occasions, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, it does happen a lot, especially like when you're like really one shot and you're like desperate to heal up. Yeah, that will kill you a lot. And that's the problem with the Lunar Lancer. It's the survivability is kind of and not to mention the DPS, which is kind of meh as well. The DPS on the Lunar Lancer is kind of meh. The thing is that the highest DPS that you will ever do with the Lunar Lancer is just from basic attack. And I literally just explained the basic attack, how bad it is. So the basic attack is kind of meh, and it is pretty much highest DPS that you will do with the Lunar Lancer. However, the Lunar Lancer can still be really good. The only thing is that the Lunar Lancer can only be good if you have high stats. If you don't have high stats, then the character is going to perform terribly, because it's going to take like forever to actually kill everything, because you're hitting the enemy just like 1, 2, 1, 2. And yeah, that's the thing with the Lunar Lancer. That's the problem that I see with the Lunar Lancer. It's just that DPS is so bad that if you are not 1 or 2 shotting with those abilities, it's going to feel like it takes forever to actually kill an enemy. But once you have enough stats, that's why I have 34k. That's when the character becomes a lot better in terms of like Uber 10 grinding. Because the multiplier against aren't that bad in terms of like Crescent Combo. You can still 2-tap bosses with Crescent Combo, and that's more than enough. And 2-tapping bosses with Crescent Combo, not 3-star though, by the way, is still pretty good. And if you have something like Explosive Epilogue and Beamer Emblem, it's going to make even better, because you're going to take the struggles that is not one-shotting and it's going to take it to 11. Let's start talking about the, Beamer Emblem. Why is it so important in the build that I'm rocking right now? And the reason it is so important with the Lunar Lancer right now is going to be that Lunar Lancer, like I mentioned, it doesn't have really good DPS. However, the multipliers can be quite high, and the multipliers on Beamer are really good. And not only that, the Lunar Lancer seems to work with Beamer a lot better than most characters because of this really slow animation. You can actually just use a flash and immediately just do a Crescent Combo, and both hits will hit at the same time, and Beamer Emblem does 6 times damage. You can actually do 10 times damage, burst damage from like both Beamer and 1 hit from Crescent Combo, and that's going to be more than enough to actually one-shot pretty much every enemy. Especially if you are like at end game and maxed out light. So that's the reason I'm using like Beamer Emblem with this character, is because the Beamer Emblem is actually a really good addition to this character's loadout, especially if you're not one-shotting like I'm doing right here. It's going to help you out in actually doing an incredible burst damage against bosses, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. Especially like once you are in like the 30k PR range, that's going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to be much better than using Trailblazing at that point, because Trailblazing is going to give you a plus 20 movement speed, yes, but it's not going to help you out in killing enemies much faster. And like I always say, what's the point in moving fast if you're not going to kill fast? That's the pure definition of having good momentum. If you're killing really fast, then it means that you can have really good momentum with the character. and the Lunar Lancer has potential of having really good momentum. So if the Lunar Lancer's momentum is going to be similar to something like Revenant, I will say it's slightly better, but at the same time slightly worse, because I don't know for a fact. I don't know like if a 34k PR can one-shot without Marshall with one swing from Crescent Combo. I know that the Revenant cannot, it does with the basic attack, and it does the same 4 times damage, but the Lunar Lancer has a bonus 30% physical damage. So I don't know for a fact that you can actually just do a one tap with one hit from the Crescent Combo. If you can do so, then the momentum can be really good, because you can literally just go and just one shot with the Crescent Combo and just keep moving forward. It's not going to be the best momentum out there, but it's going to be pretty good. It's going to make the Lunar Lancer have really good momentum. So if I just do something like this, and you can just do a one tap right there, and you can have really good momentum with a 34k PR Lunar Lancer. So that's the thing. So let me know if anyone out there is 34k PR Lunar Lancer with maxed out light. Let me know if you can actually one-shot with this one hit with the Crescent Combo against normal enemies. Again without Martial Emblem. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you're a main Lunar Lancer and if you're 34k. That would be really greatly helpful. And if you can actually one-shot with one hit without Martial, then that means that the character can have pretty good momentum, because you can actually just do something like this and just one tap and just keep moving forward, and you don't need something like Beamer to actually help out with one-shotting, or Marshall to actually help out with incredible momentum. So yeah, it's actually a really good momentum type character, but it's not a really good overall character, especially in like the early end game portions. Like the early end game portion, it can be quite fun to play, but it's not going to be the best ideal character out there. And yeah, it is a fun class. That's all the things that I will say about this class. And one thing that I forgot to mention is going to be the passive ability and the ultimate ability. The passive ability is incredibly good. If it procced more often, because it is a random chance of when it procs, the passive ability would have been incredibly amazing. Like, this passive ability not only increases your movement speed, it also reduces your incoming damage, which helps out with the poor survivability. It actually makes it pretty much transform this character into the same as something like the Draco ultimate ability. But again, it's a random chance, and it lasts for, I believe it's 6 seconds or 12 seconds. I don't remember the actual length time. I believe it's 12 seconds of length time, and it pretty much makes the Lunar Lancer like the same as the Draco in terms of like effectiveness, because it increases damage, it increases movement speed, reduces incoming damage, gains health regeneration. It's pretty much almost exactly the same as the Draco ultimate ability, but unfortunately it's random. But it's still an amazing passive ability. In my opinion, might be the best passive ability in the entire game, because literally you gain so much from it. You literally become, like I mentioned, it is literally like the Draco ult, and the Draco ult is one of the best, if not the best, ultimate ability in the entire game that is not based around class gems. And yeah, so that is one thing. The other thing is going to be the ultimate ability. Blessing of the Moon only does 5 times damage, which is good for a normal ability, which is alright for what it does, because you literally throw and forget. But the only thing is that it's an ultimate ability. Being an ultimate ability, it lasts, I believe it's 8 or 10 seconds. I think it's 10 seconds of length, and it has a 40-second cooldown. That is not good. That is not a good thing for an ultimate ability. That is really good in terms of like burst damage, but yeah, it's alright in terms of like by itself. The only thing that I would recommend you to do is with the Lunar Lancer, I would recommend you to go directly into a boss, throw the ultimate ability, and immediately Crescent Combo. You are going to do incredible amounts of burst damage with this character, and it's going to pretty much one-shot a lot of enemies right there, just doing that thing in particular. So that's going to help out a lot in burst damage with this character. If you have ultimate ability, throw it on bosses and immediately do a Crescent Combo. You're going to do a 9 times damage burst damage. And yeah, that's going to make it just so incredible. And if you include the Beamer emblem, that's going to be a 15 times damage burst damage, and that's literally a guaranteed one shot right there. So make sure to always do the ultimate ability on bosses, immediately do a Crescent Combo, and just use Crescent Combo only on Cursed Skull without any other ability. Crescent Combo is extremely good in Cursed Skulls, and it has really good crowd control. It stuns on the second hit, and you can literally just hit all enemies around you. It's like using the Knight, a slower Knight basic attack, which is going to be an insanely good for something like Cursed Skulls. And yeah, I would recommend you to use Crescent combo only on Cursed Skulls, Crescent combo with the Blessing of the Moon on bosses, and use Beamer Emblem if you don't have high enough stats that you cannot use Blessing of the Moon and Crescent combo to actually kill on pretty much one shot. But that's pretty much it. I will do this 1-star dungeon and call it a day. My final overall thoughts on the Lunar Lancer is going to be that it can be a really fun class, but it is not a really effective class at pretty much at early, mid, end game. It's going to be alright, pretty effective at true end game, like 34 KPR, but it's going to be a character that needs some stats to actually make it work. It is a character that definitely needs light. You need to build this character for light, that's a given. You need to be using Vampire and Vanquisher in order to survive with this character. You need to be also using something like Beamer if you don't have high enough stat that you can actually one-shot with Crescent combo. If you are high enough stat that you can one-shot with Crescent combo, that you don't need Beamer. And yeah, it's a pretty good class all around, but I would recommend you to use this class if you want to have fun around it with the Lunar Lancer. But if you're really serious to actually main this character, make sure to actually get Vampire and Vanquisher on this character first and foremost, even if it is a 2-star. It's going to help you out a lot more than you think. And yeah, so make sure to actually do that, and make sure to actually just use the Lunar Lancer to its fullest potential by using Vampire and Vanquisher, even if it is a 2-star. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around. So with this has been a really long end game. Now it took me so long to actually do this recording. Like I pretty much took like a small break, like a small 1-week break of actually recording and editing. So yeah, that's why I'm like doing this so late. So at least you enjoyed the longer episode, which is going to be this episode right here. It's a really long episode. And yeah, I just hope that you enjoyed the longer episode. And yeah, next episode, let me know in the comments below what character would you like to see in the next episode. And yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around as always. Leave a like if you want to help the channel grow. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And that is all for today. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. And this has been the Lunar Lancer at Endgame.